guys, welcome back to another Python tutorial. In this Python tutorial we're going to go over something that's been requested quite a bit. There's been quite a lot of comments, and that's the banking video that I did about a year ago, I'd say. So I've brought it back, I've reprogrammed it, or am in the process of reprogramming it. Currently I've done about 90% of the open account function. So what I'm doing is I am going to create some files. So in the BankTut video we're going to be going create a Python file which is going to be called bank. Now in here we're going to import OS, random and time. I'm going to grab these things from my currently reprogrammed version just because they're tedious to type out and so on. So what I want to do is I want to quickly just show this. All this part here I will be putting in the description so you don't have to type it out. Currently this line here isn't in use, but it will be soon, so just leave it in your code. And yeah. Right, so what I want to do is I then want to go ahead and go into the BankTut video file, open another directory called accounts, and that's going to be my accounts. Now as you'll see, in the previous videos I used a file called bank ID or something, which was the ID number which incremented every time. Now to avoid that this time, I don't need that. I've reprogrammed it so that it randomly assigns a number that hasn't already been assigned to something. And it's going to be a 12-digit number, so it has, I think it's 888 billion, 800 and blah 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 thousand million, whatever. It's got it's got this many possibilities. That's how many accounts you can have with the system. Now if you added a 13th digit, you would then have this much. And that adds quite a bit. So I don't think I'm ever going to run out of space in this account storage. Anyway, so to carry on, we're going to go ahead and define save. And we're just going to call that as a pass because we're going to be using it later, but we need it for now. And define menu, which is also a pass because we need that to put into the code that we're currently writing. And if we don't have these functions defined, it's going to throw an error when we go through. So we're going to go ahead and define open account, and then we're going to go ahead and go number picking equals true, and user details equals empty brackets for a list. We're going to go if current information 0 is equal to NA. Actually, I think you can go if no, that's not going to work. That's fine. Is equal to n/a. I don't need those. I need those. Then we'll save before we create a new account. And we need to do a double for a checking. And then what we're going to go ahead and go is we're going to have a while loop. So while number picking num equals random dot randint between 1 and 10. So we're going to put 1 and 10 in here just for testing purposes because we don't want to have to make like 800 billion accounts to be able to test whether this works for picking a random number. This way we'll be able to do it pretty easily. So with that being said, we can now go ahead and print a test so that we know that it's reaching this part. And then we can go ahead and print num, which is going to be printing out the random number that's been picked. Now what we want to go ahead and do is go if not, and this is where it gets a bit difficult, os dot path dot exists, and then we have to give it os dot path dot join, and we want to give it accounts. That is this file here. So we're going to check that file to see if this account exists. And we want to put a comma, and we want to give it the string of the number. So string of num. So now what happens is this checks whether that file exists, and if it does, then it'll break out of the. If it doesn't exist, it'll break out of the loop and create the account. If it does exist, it'll keep running through until it can find a number that is not currently picked. So what we want to go ahead and do is go number picking equals false, and then we want to go ahead and go os.makeDir, and then we want to give it, sorry, I need to scroll down a bit, makeDir os.path.join, and then we want to go accounts, and we want to go string num. Now outside of this while loop, because it's now broken out of the loop because it's reached the false, otherwise it just keeps running around, we want to go details equal open os.path.join. There's going to be a lot of this. And we want to go accounts string of num. So that's the file path, and then we want to go details.txt, and then outside of this we want to go in write mode. So now, I need to put this inside speech marks. So now we've got a file called details open in write mode, and we can go and write to that. So now going back to the top, we've got creation list. So this is the sense of which we'll be creating an account. We'll be putting the details of the user into that file within the account. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and go for I in range. Actually, no, that's incorrect. We want to go for I in creation list. This way we can refer to it reasonably easily. And now what we want to do is we want to go value equals input, and that's /t plus I, and if value equals C dot upper as well, because we're gonna then it's going to change the input to uppercase all the time so that we can check it against this uppercase letter. Make sure you have brackets after the uppercase, by the way, or the upper. Then we want to go back to menu, and that's where that menu, calling the menu function down here comes in, and save function comes in up here. If we didn't have them, then it'll error if it ever got to that point. Else user details dot append value, and so that's pretty much that part. Now outside of this for loop, we want to go user details dot append, and we want to go date created. So what this does is we're going to then put a time and date in for it as well. So we're going to have two lines here, user details and user details, time created. And I've pre-coded a bit of this that I'm going to copy and paste over, which will also be in the description, just because it's a bit annoying to type out and takes quite a bit of time. So this uses the time library to give day, month, year, and hour, minute, seconds. And then what we want to do is we want to run it through a for loop my bad, is run it through a for loop of user details, and we want to details dot write string of I. And then we want to put a plus and a slash n in there, which will break the line after each post. Alright, so that's pretty much all that we have now in regards to creating an account. So if I go ahead and show you this, we can run it. Now I'm not sure why this always does this, but it always opens it as a test case. Hold on 1 second. It would be because I didn't call the function at the bottom. So open account. Alright, so let's run this again. Wait, why is it running it as a test again? Over here, run bang 2. There we go. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so if I just take you down to console now. Alright, so now that we're down in the console, we can go say, we can go Stan. I don't have a, I want to put my email in here, so we'll put in a random email. Where's that? And obviously there's no constraint as to what you can type, and I don't have an address that I want to put in here, a random phone number, and we're done. So now it's created that account, it's under the ID 2, and if we go back to the top, we can see that in here we have account 1, which obviously was a test case, it doesn't have anything in it, account 2, which does have all the stuff in it, the date and the time that I created the account, the account number, the address, the mobile number, the address, the email, and my name, and then 6 is also a test case which didn't have anything in it. Okay, so now if we go back to the bottom and we run this a few times to create a few accounts, you'll see it starts looping over the top of other ones. So 10's already taken, and then it gets to a point where it can't find one and it has to find 8 in the end, and then it finds 5 after numerous attempts, and then it gets to a point where it can't find any, and it just runs infinitely. But say that we have the 11 digits or the 12 digit long ID numbers in there, this wouldn't be a problem because you'd have 888 billion different options for ID numbers, and it would just have to search a lot once you get lots of users in it. But yeah, that'll do for this video. I'll be making another video in the next day or two in regards to future parts of it. But yeah, stay tuned for those, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Alright, hello there guys. You've obviously made it to the end of the video, so you've obviously enjoyed it or had to watch the whole thing at least. So if you could consider subscribing, that would be a great help to my channel. If you have any suggestions for future videos, make sure to drop them in the comments below. Like the video to show your support to me so that I know whether you like the content that I'm making.